Hi, I'm Em, and this is the Ewe Up vlog. Hello, welcome back. It has been a while. I seem to go through fits and spurts of being on track with YouTube videos, and this was one of those moments, one of those months, one of those past couple months where I haven't been as diligent about filming. Part of that is just because I don't always have enough time or light to do so. But anyway, I won't make excuses. Let's just jump into a quick recap and check-in. I have a few finished objects to talk about. Unfortunately, some of them are not with me, but I will put photos in as usual. So let's just jump right in. So first things first, my big project, another baby blanket, is finished and in its new home. This was the Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose, and it was so fun to go stash diving for all of these different color yarns and everything. I weighed everything out as per the patterned instructions, and I thought I was gonna run out of yarn really fast. So it was initially going to be a very small blanket, like a car blanket. And then as I was knitting, I just wasn't using the yarn as fast as I thought I would. So I'm not sure if my calculations were wrong or maybe my scale isn't correct, but it ended up with a lot more squares and became an actually pretty good size for a baby blanket. So I was really happy with that. Laura's patterns are very clear. I didn't have any trouble picking up the modular knitting aspect of it. And I did modify it a bit. So I just made slightly smaller diameter squares, again, because I thought I was going to run out of yarn. So I was trying to make it as many squares as possible. And I also did the border that is described in Laura's other blanket pattern, the Stella quilt blanket. So again, that was just to make it a little bit bigger, tie it all together a little bit more. And I am so happy with how it turned out. And my friend messaged me and said that they love it. So that is the most important part. And then with that, I also secretly knit up a cute little goose toy. I'll put it up here. The theme for their boy's first birthday party was Silly Goose. So how could I not do this? This is my lovely goose. It was a very well explained pattern, like there are images and it tells you how to do certain techniques very clearly, which I really appreciated. But holy cow, was it fiddly. It was very fiddly, and part of that is my own fault. I could not find my 5th double pointed needle in the correct size, so I was using 4, which means it was just kind of doomed to begin with. But it did turn out really well, and despite the fiddliness, I know this will be a repeat pattern in the future, but my hands need a little bit of a break. So again, this was just using kind of leftovers in my stash. I held Morocco Vintage, I think it was, with a strand of woolly knit 4-ply merino for the body of the goose, and then the feet and beak were some Maisie knits DK that I just stole a little bit of from a sweater quantity in my stash. And yeah, it just turned out super cute. I'm really happy with it, and I know that it is well loved as well in its new home. I did already receive a picture of it being hugged, so that makes me happy. Okay, I have one more finished object to show you. This was finished up a while ago actually, but it never got its moment. This is another Leela top. I knit a brown one about 2 years ago, I think, or last year. I knit a brown one a while ago, and it got a lot of wear over the summer and even into early fall, so I thought, why not make another one? This was when we went to New Zealand, so I thought, perfect, it's portable, it's small, it's pretty simple, so I don't necessarily need to look at the pattern all the time. It'll be great for car knitting, airplane knitting, that kind of thing. I didn't finish it until we got back, and I did run out of the main yarn that I used, which was Paisley Knits again, but her merino cotton yarn. So I did end up substituting some knitting for olive. You can probably see the bit of color shift there. I'm not sure how it shows up on camera. But the knitting for olive one doesn't have the same variegation in color, so it does end up looking quite a bit darker. And I love how it turned out. I did the same modifications as with the brown one. You can find those on the Ravelry page that I have for it. But it's probably gonna get frogged. I made the same size as I did previously, and unfortunately my bust has changed since then. So this does not have the drape that I was imagining for it. So I definitely would need to knit a bigger size and probably alternate the Knitting for Olive and the Paisley Knits yarn in order to achieve that. So the good thing is I do have pretty much an entire ball of Knitting for Olive in the kind of matching color here. I'm not sure if it'll become another Leela top just in a bigger size, or if I'll go off course and choose a different pattern to try out. I know this is a good option, so I definitely have it in my back pocket for future projects, but it might be fun just to try something new as well. So we'll see if that happens this year or not, because I do have quite a few summer projects on the go already, which we'll talk about now. Oh, actually not quite now, because I have an almost finished object to share with you. This is my Teresia cardigan, which I modified to have a double knit button band, which turned out excellently. I found a tutorial for buttonholes on double knit button bands by Starcross Knits, and it was so easy. So this whole button band process was quite enjoyable, actually. So all it's missing is the collar and the buttons. I'm waiting until I can block the sweater as a whole to put the buttons on, just to make sure that both button bands are stretched the same way and everything, and then I can tack down the buttons properly. So that means that all I really have to do right now is the collar. I have picked up this collar probably 10 times, and each time I've been super unhappy with it. You can probably see even there, my edge stitches are really pulling away from each other, which I've never had happen with, or at least never to this extent, with other collars that I've picked up. So I've tried picking up right along the edge. I've tried picking up a few stitches in, and each time it just stretches. So it's been on a bit of a break because I don't want to wreck the fabric that I have, but I'm trying to figure out how to successfully get the collar on there. I'm wondering even if I need to knit the collar separately and just sew it down so that it is a nice tight seam, or if maybe I could like crochet reinforcement in there. If anybody has any tips on this, they would be greatly appreciated, because I'm just kind of floundering right now and I really want to get this finished because it's so close to the finish line. I'm very happy with how it's turned out. So that's where that one is. It's kind of in limbo at the moment. Again, tips are massively appreciated. Okay, now we can talk about my summer whips. So the first one you will have seen on Instagram already. This is how much progress I currently have. It's very hard to show. But this is the Moon Crush Tank by Jack Cieslak, and it is being knit for my partner. This is stash yarn that we've had picked out for him for a few years. This one I bought in London about 3 years ago now. It's called Hot Boy Summer, and this one we picked up at Knit City Vancouver just this past fall. It's called Punch and Fascist. So honestly, big vibes for this summer. And I just wanted to knit them into something more than socks for him. He is very knit worthy. He loves his knit socks. And I have no problem with knitting him endless amounts of socks, if that's what he wants, but I just wanted to give him something a little bit more special. So I have this underway. It is knitting flat, which I typically hate, and it is intarsia, which I typically hate, but I love him, so he's getting a garment that incorporates both of those things. And honestly, now that I know what I'm doing with intarsia, I don't actually mind it. So maybe I will reknit that doomed cow cardigan that I knit for my mom, just overall better. Maybe in the future, we'll see. I'm still pretty mad at that pattern. So this has been getting some pretty steady progress. I'm hoping that I can get it done by the end of June so that he can wear it for the last few months of summer at the very least. But I've put it on a little bit of a pause because of another project that has a strict deadline of June 22nd. I signed up for my first test fit, which is wild to say because I've hosted 3 or 4 now as a designer, but I've never actually been a test knitter. However, Katrin, who I have long admired on Instagram, opened up a test call for her newest pattern, the Eloise bandana, and I was in love with it. And I was looking at it, called for 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, which I had a ton of in my stash, so I was like, why not try? I didn't really think that I was gonna get selected, but I did, and I am so excited to show you what I've been working on. So this is, again, very hard to show you right now because it's not blocked, but this is the beginning of my Eloise bandana. I'm knitting the shawlette size, and as you can see, it's got some very cute color work. Mine is a tomato. I'm knitting this in ZZ Textiles and Twisted Ambitions yarns. There are so many different cute motifs included in the pattern that I actually really struggled to choose what I wanted to knit. Going into it, I thought, oh, I have tons of single fingering weight skeins, like this will be easy for me to pick. It was not. I tried so many different color combos, knit so many like half swatches before deciding like, oh, those colors don't really go, or that's not enough contrast, or what have you. And it was actually really difficult to pinpoint exactly what I was in the mood for. And then I stumbled upon this combo, and I just love it. It's definitely big tomato vibes, like this orange from the ZZ called Puffercoat. It's the perfect like cherry tomato, early ripening, little sweet tomato color. And then I feel like this speckled yarn from Twisted Ambitions called Paradise just lends a very sunlit, green, new growth kind of vibe to it. So overall, I am over the moon with this. It's knitting up pretty quickly, and the color work charts and increases and everything are super easy to get the hang of, so it becomes muscle memory very quickly. And I'm just so excited to be working on this. Katrin's pattern is very well written, very nicely laid out. Again, there are so many different motifs to pick from, so I'm sure I will be making many more of these in the future, but for right now I am trying to get a good start on it because, again, everything is due to be finished by June 22nd. So between this and my partner's tank top, I'm pretty full up on summer knitting right now. I would like to cast on 1 or 2 more summer projects for myself, but to be honest, I don't really see myself actually finishing them, so we'll see. I'll see how far I get on these 2 other projects, and then we'll decide, I think. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. Not a very exciting big update, but I have been working away in the background, and I hope that I have some more updates for you all soon. If you enjoyed this quick little check-in, please consider liking and subscribing. Leave me a comment, leave me tips about picking up for that collar on my Teresia cardigan, and let me know what you're working on. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.